All right, there we go. So this is Meet the Truth, my podcast, and I think it's episode 6 now. And today I'm joined by Milana. How
Hi.
about, yeah, hey, great to have you here. And why don't you just take us back? How did you end up here doing this crazy all meat diet thing?
Well, do you want the short story or the long story?
I mean, go as far back as you want.
um, I mean, as a kid, I was always very sugar addicted, and I wouldn't say I ate a lot of real food, even though I grew up with in a Russian culture with like Russian soups and not a lot of processed foods back then in that side of Europe. And yeah, but still so much sugar, so much Fanta, cola, ice cream, all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, that really led me down like a wrong path that I think like really messed with my health for a long time. And somewhere like very deep inside, I always knew was the sugar. Um, Now I know it was more than just sugar. It was also some plants, some additives, some yeah, other foods too. But that's basically how it started. Just like years and years of trying to get off sugar, failing, trying low carb, trying slow carb, trying all kinds of things, and just failing miserably over and over again until I listened to Andrew Huberman and Chris Palmer talk about ketogenic diet and how it can help with mental disorders, how it can like put them in remission, and having a few mental, not disorders, nothing diagnosed, but a few problems like depression and anxiety, growing up with a lot of paranoia and insomnia and just like not a very stable mood, like very some therapists that I've been talking to have said that maybe it's bipolar or maybe it's ADHD. And yeah, they think I'm too high functioning to, like, at least now, or now I am. Uh, Back then, I just didn't want to seek help so much. But now, when I try to talk to therapists, they just like, "Ah, you're so high functioning. We don't need to help you. You don't need a diagnosis." Um, but in the past, like, you could probably think that I had bipolar or something like that, or some kind of mental disorder. So listening to Chris Palmer and Andrew Huberman talk about ketogenic diet and how it can put those problems in remission, I really got very interested in it and started Googling right ahead and looking into practically how do you do a ketogenic diet? Like, what do I eat? And then learning about like the macros, and never heard in my life about like percentage of calories like before that. And then I had to learn that you only eat 5% in your calories of carbs and all that kind of stuff. So learning all of that, getting an app on my phone to track the macros, the fats, the carbs, the proteins, and then actually implementing in my life and sticking with it for 2 weeks, like just biting the bullet and just doing it. Which with sugar, I tried many times, but like somewhere around Friday, Saturday, I would break down and have the ice cream because I couldn't. I could not. Um, but here I actually stuck with keto because my cravings disappeared after the first 5 days because I didn't microdose carbs. I cut out the carbs completely. And even on low carb, you still have a little bit of carbs here and there. But on keto, you are so low carb, especially if you're lazy, as I was. I was just making scrambled egg for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, basically, which was basically carnivore. Um, so, yeah, the lazy keto with almost zero carbs, cravings completely gone within the first week. And that actually allowed me to stick with it for longer than a week. And somewhere about 2 weeks in, I noticed that all of my depression, most of my anxiety, I would say like 50% of my anxiety and insomnia, all of those things disappeared. My paranoia also quieted down. And I mean, paranoia isn't something you're like, oh, I have paranoia. This is what it feels like. It's more like some days you're like very paranoid and you think about things, and other times you're like, why was I so that was crazy. And that's kind of what happened to me when I started eating keto. I started to realize that some patterns of my thoughts, that they were so dysfunctional, and I just didn't need to go there, didn't need to think like that. And that was great. So yeah, like it was actually like a overnight kind of transformation for me, because I woke up one morning and just like completely looked differently at the world. The light was shining. I felt like I wanted to get up, and I had no trouble the night before falling asleep. I had the most resting, peaceful night I have had in years, and it was quite short, and I just woke up so happy and so in need of going out there in the world and doing things. And that's just amazing. As a young person, like not having motivation to get out of bed and to go to school and to do things and to grow, it was really really horrible, really hard to, like, you see all around you people just like, you need to grow, you need to find what you want to do in life, all that kind of stuff, and you just like feel dead inside. And you're only like 18 or something. And you're like, why do I feel like I'm about to die when I'm just 18? So that was really transformational for me. And then carnivore came in. I mean, carnivore was always kind of there. Like, I was eating the scrambled egg and I was feeling good. I was eating minced meat and I was feeling good. I was eating all kinds of like meats and bacon, all that kind of stuff, and I was feeling really good. And then whenever I was trying to be healthy and eat the vegetables, which I never liked. Like, as a kid, my mom would make a soup and there was always meat as a base. And I would always sit there with the soup and pick out the meat first. And then when I was done with my meat in my bowl, I would be like, all right, potatoes. All right, the carrot. I'll eat the carrot. It's fine. And so on keto, I was like, I need the vegetables. I need the fiber. It's good for me. It's going to make my stomach work better. And I was struggling with stomach for years. I think I started struggling with stomach like when I was 12 or something, or 10 even. I remember like all of a sudden, like going to the bathroom is like a chore. It's on my mind. I think of it. I sit there. It's awful. It's just like all of a sudden I have this thing happening in my day that's like really, really difficult. And that was never a thing when I was like younger kid. So that grew over time. Though I know that everyone around me who knows me from my birth, they all have said that I have been the most like annoying child ever, because I was screaming always. And knowing my little brother, who's 10 now, I was like 15 when he was born. He screamed also a lot when he was a child, and he was struggling with his stomach a lot as a little infant. It was really, really hard to watch. And yeah, so knowing that about me, that I was screaming a lot as a child, probably I struggled with my stomach my whole life. And so adding those vegetables was not good for me. I noticed I was eating this keto diet. I was like so sure, like, this is good for me. My depression's gone. I feel better, I have more energy. I don't have this anxiety. I want to go out and run and do things. And then my stomach hurts. I was like, why one thing works, like this diet works so well for my brain, but then for my stomach, it doesn't work at all. And I was like, it's something is off. There's still something I can tweak here. And I thought, like, learning from school, but also from like internet, that like fiber is supposed to help you with your stomach. And so I tried to add more fiber to green smoothies, the spinach smoothies. Oh my god, I'm still suffering from those with all the
Yummy.
oxalates. Yeah, so the smoothies, the broccoli patties, the all kinds of stuff with like the rice that wasn't rice, but like cauliflower grated, the cauliflower pizza. Oh my god, all those good vegetables that then sent me to the bathroom and made me wake up all night long with like colic kind of pain, where my stomach was so bloated. I was like 9 months pregnant, kind of bloated. And at some point my husband was like, just stop doing that, just stop eating the vegetables. And he was with me there doing keto, but like he was just eating what he wanted to. He never tried to eat anything that was like, that's good for you. And so he was feeling fine. And so he was watching me add all that fiber, all those vegetables, and he was just like, don't do that to yourself. Like, clearly that makes you feel bad. Stop. And so I did. And just like, I was lazy and ate lots of scrambled egg again. My go-to when I'm lazy. And I just felt so much better. And at the same time, there was a lot of like carnivore videos, and Paul Mason, who was talking about how you don't need fiber, and how in the study, in the gastro something journal, that people who ate zero fiber had zero issues. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Like, a study says that, a doctor says that, lots of other like videos say that. Why not give it a shot? I mean, yeah. And that's basically how I found carnivore. After that, I tried a few times to reintroduce food and realized immediately that I was having like quite bad reactions to it. And my gut was always unhappy about it. And the anxiety came back, which on keto, like 50% of my anxiety went away. But on carnivore, it was like, now it's completely gone. Now it's only returning when I like have, like if I buy some sausages, which are otherwise very clean, but have some spices in them, then my anxiety can come back. Or if I eat some salad or something, which I don't know why I would do that. It's not even tasty. So yeah, it's just, that's what my body wanted, and that's what my body still says it wants. And whenever I try to do something else, it says no. Maybe I'm just not ready for it. Maybe at some point I'll be able to work up a tolerance for certain toxins, plant toxins, anti-nutrients. But right now, I feel my best eating just meat.
That's amazing. And could you
Yeah.
tell us more about like when you heard this, like the fiber study? I think it's in gastroenterology, like about idiopathic constipation. It's that one, I'm guessing.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah, a
one.
lot of people start there, right? Hearing that one. And could you tell us more about like what was going through your head when you heard all of this stuff? Because you still probably have these thoughts about, oh, but what do you mean vegetables are like the healthiest for us and all that stuff? So could you talk more about that?
Yeah, it must have been like almost exactly 2 years ago when I heard Paul Mason talk about the study, and then Anthony Chafee, and then um, Lily Kane, I think, popped up a lot in the shorts with her tallow. So it was about that time, and the whole like vegetable thing. It's weird. Like whenever you hear people say, "Oh, you should eat healthy," the line that always follows that is always, "You should have more vegetables and fruits." And nowadays I react wrongly to it, but back in the day, it was just like very natural to hear that. And like the more you hear it repeated, the more it just like sits in your mind, like healthy vegetables and fruits, healthy vegetables and fruits. And so you just like hear it over and over and over again. And at some point, you just like take it as a given. No one ever really talks about why. I mean, people mention like, oh, there are all these vitamins and minerals, eat the rainbow, all the different minerals and vitamins. But then no one really talks about how they're not bioavailable, not the right kind, and that they're spread all across the vegetables. You can't just eat one vegetable and get all your minerals and vitamins. And so, yeah, I grew up just like hearing this like healthy fruits and vegetables, healthy fruits and vegetables. But then I never heard anyone say meat is good for you, except maybe Jordan Peterson. When he went on carnivore diet, I was following him for a few years. Like must have been since I was like 16 or so, like years back. And I remember the time when he appeared on Joe Rogan. That was the first time I heard him talk about his meat diet. And I back then didn't understand what he meant. Like he didn't say, I don't think he ever said carnivore. I think he just said, I eat only meat. And I was like, oh, meat is good for you. Okay, meat is good. All right, I won't avoid meat. Because before that, I was kind of like trying the veganism, trying the vegetarianism, because I was like, animals. I really care about animals. I have a dog. I have several dogs. I have a bunny. I have cats. I really like animals. But I actually tried it for a few weeks, maybe a few months. I don't remember. It was like in high school, and it was very easy to just like choose it on the menu in high school. And then at home, I would just like eat my usual like waffles and sandwiches, which was also vegetarian or vegan. And I didn't feel good. I quite quickly started feeling very tired and not at all like healthy. And then my mom took me to the doctor, and they tested my vitamins and stuff, and I was like low in, I think, iron or B12 or something. And then I had a mom that didn't really want to invest into vitamins and stuff like that. Like she bought some multivitamins, but if I needed something super specific, like I wasn't gonna get it. So I needed to start meat again, like start eating meat again. And so I did that. And but I always still had it in my mind that like, oh, vegan food, vegetarian food is healthier. Pick that option. Go to McDonald's, don't take the burger, but take the bean salad. My mom still thinks that's healthier. Well, as I sit there with my 3 patties without the bun or anything, just the patties. Yeah. And yeah, so I always had it in my mind that vegetables and fruit were healthy, and the vegan options were therefore also healthier. But then I didn't really have it in my mind that meat was bad. Like that came way later, I feel like I never thought meat was bad. I just thought like nutritionally. I just always thought like, oh, but the animals and the planet. But I didn't have any problems nutritionally with meat. Like I didn't think of like, oh, it's gonna give me cancer. That was not a thing back in the day when I tried vegetarianism and stuff. And then I heard Jordan Peterson talk about it being good, and I was like, okay, like I can't eat vegetarianism because I feel bad from it. So I mean, I guess meat is good, but then it wasn't like ever a focal point of my diet. And I never really, like, I tried eating just meat, like he said, for a few weeks, but I lost a lot of weight because I didn't add any fat. And I ate only minced meat, which was not like really good for me, I think. And so, yeah, it just became like a not a very sustainable thing. And then I relapsed with some ice cream because it was the summer. And so it just never happened. I think if he would have said carnivore and then I would have Googled carnivore and then I would have started looking into what it actually meant and why we eat that way and how it's like ancestrally appropriate, then I would have maybe back then learned way more about it. But since there was like no name to it, it was just like eat meat, no directions, no like you should also take some electrolytes because your insulin will go down and you'll probably lose a lot of sodium and potassium and whatnot. There was no like directions about like how much fat you should eat, no directions on like um, how many times you should eat, that maybe you shouldn't eat like a kilogram at once or something. um, which I have never done, but I've eaten like close to a kilogram, like 800 grams, and then I don't feel good. I really don't. I do not understand people like you who can eat once a day. Really don't. Maybe my female stomach is just much smaller. I don't know. But yeah, that was basically like the propaganda in my head. And yeah, that really like slowed down me finding carnivore, I feel like, because I always thought vegetables are good. And so now when I meet people that I tell them I eat only meat and they're like, but the vegetables. And I'm always like, I understand where you're coming from. I really do. But we've been lied to. It's not true. It's just and it's so hard to convince or explain to people that like the thing you've been ingrained to believe from the get-go, from like your birth more or less, that the vegetables are good for you and finish your vegetables and don't you leave the table before you are done with your vegetables, like that's not true. That's just I don't even know what it is or why. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned hearing Jordan Peterson talk about it and stuff. Was there like a reason why, when you heard this, that you didn't go for like the full meat only thing? Were you still believing like that you needed the vegetables and fruits and that?
No, I don't think so. I tried it. I went just meat for like a week, a solid week or
Oh,
two.
okay.
Um, I was eating just minced meat and like with a little bit of butter, but like not enough butter at all. And then I think maybe my period came around and I needed to like up my butter intake way more or something. And then I got like these huge cravings for ice cream and chocolate. And it was summer and like I was surrounded by it and I just gave in. And once you give in to some sugar, then it's like, and it's like also like all these people around me being like eating like normally, eating vegetables, some are vegan. And I'm just like, yeah, experiment failed.
Yeah, it can. I mean, it's difficult to give up all of that stuff, like the ice cream and those sort
Yeah.
of things. And do you know what actually for you, what made it so hard to give up that stuff?
I mean, in a way, not knowing exactly what caused my stomach problems. I think like back then I was trying to find like, oh, it's this ice cream or this cookie or like this one thing that fucks up with my stomach. But no, it was like all of it. And in a way, you can't grasp that. If you just hear like someone say, I eat only meat, you're like, but wait, no vegetables, but wait, no fruit, no this, no that. And like it's very hard to grasp that you can eat only meat. And like even though I was the kind of person that didn't mix my food a lot and I could subsist on like one or two or three things, I still needed variety. And I still felt like when I ate only meat, like then I added some halloumi, then I added some sweet potatoes. Interesting that that's something that most people had, like sweet potatoes. It's just like, yeah, naturally added it. But yeah, I couldn't grasp that I could react to everything. I think that was very hard for me to grasp. I feel like if I maybe would have approached it a bit like Michaela Peterson, where I would have like been able to eliminate food groups one at a time, which I did on keto. I had to eliminate like the very starchy things and the like sugary things and stuff, and then I eliminated the vegetables and like not all vegetables, but like very prone to allergy vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers and yeah, some other stuff that people like react to very oftenly. And then I basically did an elimination diet like Michaela Pearson described. In the end, I have like just broccoli, some salad, some spinach. And I'm like, surely I can't be reacting to broccoli. And then I remove it and I'm like, oh my God, my stomach feels amazing. But back then, I was like, Jordan Peterson said he eats only meat. All right, I will eat only meat for a week. And I was like, it's so hard. It's so hard to just like go from 100 to 1 and stick with it. And it's also very hard to grasp that like, oh, I introduced that ice cream back and like my stomach didn't have the time to heal in a week, so of course it immediately feels worse, and then I feel bad and try something else and I feel bad from that too. And then I just think like, oh no, I'm just the kind of person that always feels bad, and that's just my stomach. It's nothing with the food. It's just never gonna get better. It's all the food. Well, apparently it's all the food but one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely, as you said, right? It's so hard to break that thing of, you actually don't need to eat the entire rainbow.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, you talked about trying it for those 2 weeks and then you kind of slipped up, but you did eventually get back to it again and you're on the carnivore diet now. So
Mm-hmm.
could you take us through like what were the first signs of improvement, the first signs you saw of, oh, this is working?
On carnivore.
Yeah.
I mean, my stomach just like unbloated. It like is so flat now. Like you see all these videos where girls are like, this is how you get abs, do all of these exercises and all that kind of stuff. I don't need to do any exercises for my abs. I just stopped eating vegetables and there are my abs. Yay. Flat stomach is great. But yes, sleep has improved. Like it was good on keto, but it's even better now. Of course I have days when I have bad sleep, when yeah, just like especially now when it's so bright outside basically all day and all night. But my sleep improved and I fall asleep so easily. I like lay down on my pillow, I close my eyes, and before there was like this constant monologue, all of these thoughts and feelings and anxious, like, oh, I should have said this, I should have done that, blah blah blah. And now it's just like I fall asleep. I close my eyes and I fall asleep. It's amazing. And the few times that I tried to reintroduce food, I got horrible anxiety and really bad nightmares. Like I always know that I'm eating something not clean when I have nightmares. Like I eat some sausages with some like simple spices like black pepper and stuff like that, and I get nightmares. It's weird, but yeah. And the depression is completely gone. It's bizarre to think back to the time when I was depressed and to remember that like sad dark place, sad dark person. I'm a completely different person. I would say I don't, like, I'm one of those people that doesn't get sunburn anymore. It's cool. I turned red, and then my whole face just like on the next day it turns brown immediately, which is really nice. No itching in between or anything. Um, what else? I mean, my stomach is it has a lot to heal, and I've been doing GAPS protocol on and off a little bit. If you've heard about GAPS, have you?
Yeah, I'm not sure like exactly what like the details are, but it's some sort of elimination diet, isn't it?
It's also an elimination diet, yes, but it has a very strong focus on, instead of eating just steaks and minced meat, you try to eat meat that you cook for a longer time. Most
Like
preferably
slow cooked.
soups. Exactly.
Yeah.
And most preferably soups that have like a lot of meat stock. So not bone broth, but meat stock, the juices that are left from the meat. And those, I'm sorry, can you hear my dog drink? He's very
Yeah,
loud.
that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
No
He
worries.
just came from a walk, and so he's drinking a lot. Um, so yeah, the GAPS protocol is basically you make a lot of soups and a lot of like roasts, and you save all that juice that's left from it. You don't discard it. You drink it. You put it in your meat. It's so good for your stomach, and you choose the most like rich in collagen meats as you can, like brisket, like chuck. Um, oh, my most favorite is oxtail. You can do such amazing meat stocks with oxtail. It's delicious, and there's so much fat on them. And so you eat all that collagen, all that fat, and it's really really soothing for the stomach. And yeah, so I've been doing that on and off. It gets a little bit tedious to wait for 4 hours to eat every day. So I still eat sometimes the quickly cooked in the air fryer burgers or steaks. But I prefer to eat according to the no plant gaps because it's just so healing for the stomach. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
I mean, we could go on to because you talked about the mental side, like side of it, like the mental benefits with the
Yeah.
depression and all that going away. And could you go deeper into that? Like, were there other mental benefits you saw? Like, you were thinking clearer, you were more productive, and
Mm.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, I always had a really hard time concentrating in school. Like just like sitting at a table, looking at the teacher, listening to actually what they're saying. I could never like, and I could never understand people who like went home, didn't study, and then were prepared for the test anyway. Like my husband is like that. He just listened in school, and he just always wrote the tests by what he heard the teacher say. I could never. I would always go home and study and prepare for the test and do a bunch of example exercises and stuff like that because my brain just wouldn't focus on what the teacher was saying. It was like so much noise all the time. And now I'm studying right now as well, and at the university, and I can sit for hours. It's amazing. I can actually listen. I can actually contribute and like be in a seminar and actually pay attention. It's amazing. I just don't have any words for it. Like, it's amazing how much clarity in your mind you get from just like removing all the noise of plans, of cravings, of this hurts, that hurts, I'm anxious, I'm thinking about all these different things that are stressing me. None of that is there. I feel like I have full control over my brain most days. Of course, you always have like a bad day, but the baseline is that I can focus, I can think clearly, I don't have this brain fog of like literally it felt before like there was something clouding my judgment, clouding my vision, clouding my senses. And now there is nothing clouding who I am and what I perceive the world to be. Is just what it is, at least what it feels like. It's almost like just like for the first time putting on the glasses and realizing, oh, things have more color, things are more sharp, and I can actually see them now, and I actually want to see them now. Before you wear glasses, you're like, oh, it's so far away, it's so much like effort to look at these things that you don't take the time to look into them. And now that I can see so clearly, that I've put the glasses on, I can finally understand what's happening around me and feel way more confident socially because I don't have this like delay in my perception and in the in yeah, in my emotions as well, because like social situations do require a lot of um just presence, and I didn't have that. I was so clouded, and now everything's so clear. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love hearing that, and absolutely, I think for most people, like doing like who end up doing this, I feel like I always hear that the mental clarity, just the mental benefits of this is like that's where the best part of all of it is, really. Or I mean, all the other stuff too, but like just how sharp your mind is and how clear
Yeah.
everything is. You can just think and focus and whatever, do what, achieve everything you want,
And
right?
I have exams that are like 4 or 5 hours long, and I can sit there at the exam, and all those 4 or 5 hours long, I am focused, I'm working, I'm writing, and I look around and everyone has, caffeine, sugar all over. And I don't need any of that. It's like I save so much money
Yeah, and
and
then they
I'm
get
so
like
much more
distracted,
engaged.
right?
And they
Sorry.
need to get up and move
Yeah.
around and like to get their brain moving. While as I sit there for 4 hours, I don't even need to drink water or anything. Like I feel so like my body can take care of itself. It's great.
Yeah. And when you started, like, your mind started clearing, you started feeling better, how did people around you react? Did they notice all of this?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, most of my girlfriends, they're just like, your skin looks amazing. Wow, you're like glowing. You don't have any pimples. And now that I got all this tan, like I'm really tan, and the summer has just begun. Um, they all noticed that at first, but I think most of my friends also noticed that I've become more calm and like less anxious. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a hard one for people to notice. When I think it's easier to notice, like for example with my husband, that he lost a lot of weight, but it's harder to notice the mental uh, changes, because you think like, oh, that person just grew up or something. And maybe I did in some way, but I I definitely have changed mentally so much, and the growing up wouldn't happen. I feel like without carnivore. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and when they have they asked you about what you're doing or anything like that, are they curious about it?
Yeah. Yeah. Some friends are very curious. Um, some friends are, they still eat the vegetables, but they become way more like, yeah, meat is good for you. Meat is really good for you, because they see my muscles as well. Like I flex my biceps to some of my girlfriends, and they're like, wow, how did you do that? And how many times do you go to the gym? And I'm like, maybe once a week. But my biceps grew so much that they just can't believe it. It's just from meat, it's just from eating enough protein. And some friends, they are trying to eat carnivore. um, they like it, and they also feel great, but they also struggle like anyone else to give up the ice cream and the cookies and whatnot. So, but yeah, some have switched even to carnivore, which is crazy and good. And other friends, even if they aren't completely on board with the carnivore thing, at least I've convinced them to give up their cooking oils for tallow and for butter, and that already makes me so happy to see them. I was visiting a friend, and she actually told me herself, like, "Oh, now I cook only on tallow, and people look at me so weirdly in the store, but it tastes really good." And yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really great always to hear that like it actually ends up affecting people around you and all that stuff, right? They
yeah,
probably would you think it's like they see what it's done to you and then they're like, oh, maybe this could do something for me in my life.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably where it
Great.
comes from, right?
No, exactly, exactly. And then there's some logical things, like you explain to them, like logically, if you cook on a very um like fragile or like unstable oil, you would expect that if you heat it up too much, like you would get problems with the oil. It smokes, it produces dangerous chemicals. If you cook on something like tallow that is almost completely odorless, completely tasteless, very stable oil, be very healthy for you. And they're like, yeah, yeah, okay, I see the logic. Why haven't I thought of that myself? And then they try it, and they actually like how their food tastes even better. And yeah, sadly, like mental stuff, you can't see as much. Like I wish I had something big on my body or something where I could have like before and after, but I don't. Like it's just the mental stuff. Like, oh, before I was like sleeping 12 hours a day, and um like at times sleeping 12 hours a day, other times not being able to fall asleep until 5 a.m. and then having like so many depressed days where I wouldn't leave my house. And now here I am, like showing up for 5 days straight, being social every day, and like, yes, feeling tired in the end of it, but actually like enjoying all of it and showing up and being this like positive, engaged person that like is there. Whilst before I could like show up for an hour and then be tired and then be like depressed for the rest. And yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, I totally get what you say about like always the mental stuff is it's like harder to get people to understand it and stuff. And it's kind of the same for me actually. I don't have any like before and after pictures or like a huge like physical transformation part of it. For me, it's also like the depression and anxiety part of it and like the gut issues. It's kind of funny because when I post stuff, right? It's all those people who want to like get at me, like throw hate or whatever. It's such a common thing from them that they're like, "Oh, but where are your transformation pictures, bro?"
Mm. You look the same, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I don't have them. I didn't take any pictures, and there isn't really much to show.
Yeah, it's not like you take a lot of pictures when you're a teenager and your whole face is covered in pimples and whatnot. Like you avoid taking pictures at that time of your life. And so, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and when were you like that too? That when people like in family gatherings and stuff, like social gatherings, that when someone took out the camera and wanted to grab a photo, you either like find some excuse to run away or you like turn your head or something. Were you like that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not always, but there were periods definitely when it was bad, and I was definitely like that. Yeah. I think it froze up a bit.
Okay. I think we're back. Yeah, the weather's been pretty bad here lately, so that
Mhm.
happens. But yeah, what would you say actually? Because I'm sure, I mean, it's not always just bright during this whole like journey, right? What would you say in like maybe tough times or just yeah, going through all of this? What would you say has helped you the most along the way? Is it like listening to people like Anthony Chafee, Paul Mason? Is it seeing other people's transformations? Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a really interesting question. I Yeah, I feel like I've consumed so much carnivore information uh, that now I know every video what they're gonna say without watching it. Um, I've hit quite a few um, problems on my way, and I would say that listening to people like Anthony Chafee or Ken Berry has been very helpful. Um, but they have a very like general advice usually, whereas it is very helpful to listen to interviews with like a single person telling their story. I had this problem, I fixed it like this. It has been very helpful as well, because sometimes a general solution doesn't help every individual. And I've had some problems that were very individual. Like, for example, I've had to quit salt for a while. I've now introduced it back actually, and it worked. But for a while, I had to like not eat any salt, or I would like retain a lot of water in my face and my body. And before anyone thinks immediately like, did you try electrolytes? Yes, I tried electrolytes. I tried electrolytes. Um, no, but I just at some point I think my insulin or something in my body just like got so balanced that my body was like, I don't need all this extra salt, stop it. And it actually stopped tasting good as well. Like it was everything started tasting too salty. And I kind of like went lower and lower and lower in salt. And like in contrast, I was putting salt in my sparkling water when I was doing keto. So I was drinking salt like with water. And here I'm all of a sudden like stopping to salt meat. And at some point the meat just tastes salty without the salt. Like it tasted really good without the salt. And then whenever I like ate something and someone salted it before I had my say, um, it just tasted like eating like something like drinking ocean water or something. It was like really salty.
Wow,
And
really?
yeah,
Yeah.
it Yeah, and then I had a period now when I ate some honey, and then I thought it could like promote enzymes, give like probiotics, all that kind of stuff to my stomach. All it did was just trigger a huge craving for more honey, and then I ended up eating almost nothing but honey for 2 or 3 days, and like crazy amounts of honey. And then it probably spiked my insulin, and now my insulin is dropping again. And so now I can eat salt again. Probably in a few weeks, I will go back to not eating salt. So now I'm eating salt again just because my insulin dropped and I'm probably wasting a lot of sodium. But there was a solid, like almost a year when I was just, I, I couldn't eat salt. Like it was too salty and it would make me retain water. And so, I mean, knowing back then, like getting all of these problems with like edema and stuff on carnivore, I was like, what is happening? I'm taking my electrolytes, I'm drinking extra salt and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying more salt because people tell me like you get water retention from not having enough electrolytes or not having enough salt. And then I came across this one conversation with, I think her name is Dana White, maybe. I wanna say that is, but she was talking to Kelly Hogan, and she's a long-term carnivore, and she doesn't eat any salt. And there are a lot of long-term carnivores that don't eat any salt, and I was like, what the hell? Let me try, because the general like every like carnivore doctor and all, they will tell you eat more electrolytes or like drink more electrolytes, eat more salt as you need it after taste. And for my taste back then, I couldn't figure out like, do I want more salt? Do I want less salt? I couldn't figure it out because it was like salt just tastes salty. I don't know. Do I want less? Do I want more? And so I tried Dana's advice to like just completely take it away because she felt also at some point that she was just getting swollen and it just wasn't good for her, and it worked. Like it worked really good. And then I realized like we're eating meat, and if we like cook it with water, like we drink the juice, and the juice is actually salty, so you get like meat, what is it, like it's just animal cells, right? So you get everything that a cell needs in the balance that it needs, like in the ratio that it needs. So you get the salt and you get the potassium and you get the calcium, you get everything you need in from that cell. And so you don't need to add salt if you don't have insulin that's going down and making you waste electrolytes. So after a while on carnivore, you shouldn't need salt. And I also read this book, right? The Not by Bread Alone by William Stefansson. And he's also talking about how we don't really need salt and how he thought he was craving it and stuff. And then he, after like living with Inuit for like a long time, like half a year or something, he got his hands on salt and then had it with his food and it was amazing. And then the next day he forgot about it. Because you don't, like, you get used to the taste and it tastes salty on its own. So you don't need to add anything to it. Yeah, right now I feel like I need it. Right now I'm craving it. Like I eat meat and it tastes plain. And so I know I need to add salt. And then sometimes I feel a little sluggish during the day. And so I drink some electrolytes and that makes me feel better. But yeah, I'm waiting for that moment when it starts to go down and then I'll just taper it down again.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing, right? And now that you say it, I definitely have, like thinking about it, I'm using less and less salt the longer I go, actually, myself. Just,
yeah, it's
without
just
even
something
really thinking about it. Yeah.
forgetting. Yeah, you just start
Yeah.
forgetting about it because meat tastes like it tastes the way it's supposed to taste to you.
Yeah, exactly. And some days I do actually like just not use any because I don't feel like it tastes all right on its own. I haven't really thought about it until you said
Yeah.
it. It's definitely something I should look more at. And where do you see yourself like going with all this stuff, carnivore? Do you see yourself doing it long term, like the rest of your life? What are you thinking?
Definitely. I mean, I hope to be one of the people that is able to eat whatever they want, but I love eating carnivore. Like every time I eat, it's it's like my birthday. Like every time I bite into food, and like I always wait until I'm like hungry, right? So I don't eat like when I'm like, oh, I need to eat right now because it's 6 o'clock and that's when we have dinner. No, I eat when I'm hungry. And so it's about 2 times a day. And like every time I eat, I am properly hungry and I bite into my food and I'm like, this tastes amazing. And my husband is so tired of me saying this because I sit across from him and I'm like, this meat is so good, so juicy. It has so much flavor. And he's like, it's the same meat you ate this morning. What are you talking about? And it's just, yeah, it's amazing. And so I would really want to sometimes maybe eat a little bit of chocolate and not get crystals all over my body because like I feel the oxalates in my joints like in a few hours. I really wish that I would be able to just like get that dark chocolate in my Easter calendar from family and be able to enjoy it and not be rude and like be like, no, I can't have that. Sorry. Uh, but oh, meat is gonna always be the main, like, that's food. Everything else is just for fun. Meat is the food, the fuel for my body. That's never gonna change.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And if there's like someone out there who still believes all those things you believed before, right? That vegetables, that's like the healthiest thing and all that stuff. Uh, what would you actually say to them if they came to you and like tried telling you all the things you believed before?
Hmm. Yeah, that's really hard. I think there is nothing really anyone can say to change someone's mind until they have decided that they are willing to change their point of view and willing to experiment and try to see whether what they're doing right now could possibly not be the most optimal or the right thing. And so yeah, when I tried carnivore, I was suffering from all those vegetables so much that I was willing to go past my beliefs and say, okay, maybe that's not right because I'm feeling so bad from it. Let me try and see if this carnivore thing works. And that's the only really way to figure it out, I think. I mean, I think we even have a saying in Russian that like you get to know things by trying things. That's that's all you can do. Try things. Just if you think something sounds completely insane, try it. Just try it. I mean, yeah, in a way I tried that sugar diet now. It sounded completely insane. That wasn't my purpose to do the honey. I wanted the enzymes and the probiotics. But in the end I ended up trying the sugar thing and it's horrible. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Stick with the Bible, leave the fruit on the on the tree.
Well, yeah, I
Or
think it's
honey in the hive.
sorry.
Or honey in the hive, yeah.
Yeah. Leave that to Winnie the Pooh. He can have that for himself.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's definitely a great point you bring up, right? The best thing you can do really is just stand up as a great example. And that's what you've seen in your own life too, that people see how good you're doing yourself and then they get curious and all that stuff. You have to be open to it too. You can't
Yeah.
really force or convince anyone who's not ready for it, I guess.
No. And usually people, when they have like a certain belief, they're testing it out as well. Like I have some family members that are eating vegan, and I don't think they're like completely, like completely convinced that that works, but they're like, we want to try. We like, it's important for us to have tried that. And I understand. I just hope you try carnivore too.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
hope they do. And actually, I think that's a pretty good point to round this off, isn't it? And it's been a pleasure having you on here, Milana, and talking to you, getting to know you more. Yeah.
Yeah, real pleasure talking to you too.
All right. Well, speak soon, and I hope people enjoyed. And I'll see you people next time when I have some other guest on. I don't know who it's going to be, but someone.